Sweet Baby Inc. is one of several companies that are, in fact, ruining your video games.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast. I'm your host, Jake Berry. Thank you for joining me today. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe because I talk about all things pop culture. All right, so Sweet Baby Inc. You might be seeing video thumbnails talking about it, and yet you selected mine to discuss it. So, what is Sweet Baby Inc.? So, they're basically Feminist Frequency 2.0. They leech themselves onto video game developers and then have them insert all of this weird diversity, inclusivity, and equity nonsense. Essentially, a bunch of woke propaganda to ruin your video games. What is interesting is Sweet Baby Inc., unlike Feminist Frequency, which tried to do it more secretly, they got exposed because of the whole Last of Us Part 2 debacle, and that eventually led to their downfall and their bankruptcy, which Sweet Baby Inc. then proceeded to pick up several of their workers to join in, and they are the ones who rewrote Spider-Man 2. Originally, Miles Morales was not as big of a character in Spider-Man 2. They had him and his ridiculous high school storylines be expanded into the video game, and also it was supposed to conclude where Peter and Mary Jane got married. They rewrote the ending where they're just moving in together, a whole bunch of ridiculous nonsense. And Peter's just like, I just need a break. Because before it was going to be they're off on their honeymoon. And then Miles Morales was going to remain behind, which would set up Miles Morales too. Because we all know Peter Parker is Spider Man and Miles Morales is Miles Morales. So that is the connection point there where they have been exposed. And I have to give full credit here to John Trent over at That Park Place. He has been on top of this. So uh, kudos to you, dude. You have done a fantastic job here. And for example, here is one expose he did where he exposed their CEO and co-founder. So I'm going to read this to you. Go to thatparkplace.com. That's where you can find this report. Sweet Baby Inc. CEO and co-founder Kim Billar previously compared white male gamers to picky babies as she explained how her company gained influence on major video game developers during a 2019 Game Developers Conference. So this is a few years ago when they were just first getting started. At the beginning of her presentation, Belair made it abundantly clear what her company and her company's goals are. We do narrative development in games and kind of beyond, and we try to bring inclusion, diversity, and new ideas kind of to the industry. So I'm going to pause right here. When they mean inclusion and diversity, they do not mean you. They mean them. People who weirdos who look like them, who eat a lot of soy, drink a lot of soy, not people of varying backgrounds or origins. They mean specifically these coastal elites who were spoiled and never told no when they were growing up. That's who they mean by diversity and inclusion. That's why, this whole DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, that's why it's mockable, because they don't actually mean that. So anyway, continuing on with the article. Later in her presentation, she also confirmed the company acts as sensitivity readers for video games, saying, we need sensitivity readers. We need risk assessment. And these are, like, again, important services that I literally list on every PDF that I send out to be like, hey, I can do a risk assessment and sensitivity reading. Just so you know, again, I'm going to pause it here. Sensitivity reading is a made up job. If you need sensitivity reading, you shouldn't be reading. It's ridiculous. Put a helmet on. Life is hard. All right, continuing on. About two-thirds through the 30-minute presentation, Belair compared white male gamers to picky babies, saying, I think in our industry and in so many creative industries, if you want to look at film and television, any art form, we start treating our core demographics as a fixed and static value, something that does not want to change and something that is locked in place. So despite the changing faces of audiences, there is no changing audience. Despite the changing face of conferences, like this one, we still look at our core demographic and say, okay, they're white, cis, hetero males. Okay, cis is, and by the way, is a slur made for straight people, basically. And we cater almost exclusively to them. And the problem is that we don't just cater to them like, here's something that we think you'll enjoy. We cater them like a picky baby. See, and she goes on and on about this, which again, John Trent reports on. This is what I talk about when I say all of these folks in the entertainment industry, they do not deserve the benefit of the doubt. I am so tired of people saying, "Oh, this game isn't even out yet. Why are you worried about it? Just because some company or org is attached to it." This is why. This was in 2019 when people were first starting to realize, hey, maybe go woke, go broke. And she's talking about this. This is this smugness, this elitism that they think they're better than you because they enjoy a good soy latte. Listen, there's nothing wrong with soy. If you're lactose intolerant, enjoy it all you want to. But these folks think that they are the be all end all of the entertainment industry and they want to talk down to you. They want to insult you just because of who the core audience is. And notice how she says this. This is what really got me. And we cater sorry, so despite the changing faces of audiences, despite the changing faces of conferences like this one, see, that's what she really means. She's like, "Oh, look at all of us in this conference. Look how big we are. Look how important we are. The audience needs to look more like us." That's where you get things where, like in Spider-Man 2, how they changed Mary Jane's face model from how she looked in the first one to one of the writers on the game, who, by the way, that writer is connected to Sweet Baby Inc., which is why that changed. We're going to take what you love out of this, the core example of everything, of the source material, of the lore. We're going to take all that out and we're going to put our own stuff in because our stuff is better because this conference, looks more like how we think the world should look like. Who are you? Go away. No one asked you. So, anyway, all of this, especially when this particular interview got leaked and people started talking about it, well, what happens? Sweet Baby Inc. ran to the media, which is what these cowards always do. And of course, it's a pipeline, right? So one of the games they affected, right, was Spider-Man. Well, who owns the video game rights to Spider-Man? Sony. Well, who has a deal with or who owns Spider-Man as a character? Marvel Comics, who's connected to Disney. And then Disney, they own ABC, and so on and so forth, and it just goes on and on. So you see, it goes from the video game to Sony to Disney to ABC News, the media. Oh, and by the way, who's one of the biggest donors to a certain political party that has the acronym DNC? Oh yeah, that would be Bob Iger, who is a mega donor. He even considered running on the Democrat Party ticket in California. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. I'm telling you, this is a long pipeline. So they run to the media, right? Sweet Baby Inc. runs to the media, and of course, Kotaku, one who basically uses AI to write all their articles, and all they do is they don't even bother reviewing games. They just trash gamers and trash lore and people who prefer the canon not to be changed, things like that. And again, this is John Tran at thatparkplace.com. Sweet Baby Inc. is running to Kotaku in order to try and do damage control for the company after multiple employees tried to cancel a Steam curator list as well as the creator of said list. So basically, what happened was these people made a list on Steam that had all of the video games affected by Sweet Baby Inc. and how that company was affecting them, so you know not to buy those products, right? So basically, Sweet Baby Inc. tried to get this guy removed. One of the workers for Sweet Baby Inc. tried to get them banned off Steam, and it didn't work. By the way, it was an epic fail. So of course, what do? They run to Otaku, and this is what one of the workers at Sweet Baby Inc. Says, or excuse me, this is actually Balar, so the CEO of the company. Sweet Baby Inc. is at its core a narrative development company. That means anything from script writing to narrative design to narrative direction to story reviews. One of the things that we do is cultural consultations or authenticity consultation. Sorry. For us, that generally means that we might be asked to look at a story if there's a character in it who is marginalized in a certain way, and the studio wants to connect them with a consultant who can bring a little bit of authenticity. But the perspective is never that we're coming in and injecting diversity. You literally just said you were, and now you're saying you're not. For the most part, it's the reverse. It's that a company has created a character and they want to make that character more representative and more interesting. That's not what it does. So, what's hilarious is, as John Trent points out, this company says on their website that that's what they do. They want to inject DEI, or as many other YouTubers call it, die. And they are angry because they got busted. And now Sweet Baby Inc. is floundering. They don't want to do. They're in a panic. And I am all here for it. Listen, I am so tired of these elitists in the entertainment industry talking down to me, changing my characters, and telling me I should just take my medicine. No, enough. Turn to indie gamers, or excuse me, turn to indie game devs, play older games, do whatever it takes. Vote with your wallets. Do not give companies that associate with these activist organizations a dime. It is so ridiculous. And Sweet Baby Inc. isn't the only one. If you'd like me to do, a full list at some point where I can track some of them down, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, you don't have to take it anymore. Do not take it. Ready Player One, or should I say, are you ready, Player One? Because we are going to be in possibly for a second incarnation of Gamergate.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die